Welcome to the You Make the Call sports blog. This is my series called QB Corner, where I look at young starting quarterbacks in the NFL, combining statistical and film analysis to determine their strengths and areas where they can work on to become truly great quarterbacks. You can search for other quarterback analysis pieces using hashtag QB Corner and also other general blog pieces using hashtag YMTC Sports. This time I'm going to be looking at Colin Kaepernick, a quarterback who had an up and down year for an up and down 49ers offense that really let the team down as they missed the playoffs. Looking at his stats compared to other young quarterbacks, what I've done is I've sorted this table by adjusted net yards per attempt. For those that aren't familiar, this is an efficiency statistic that combines basically everything about a quarterback's passing game into one stat that measures his per attempt value. So it includes touchdowns, picks, sacks, completion percentage, yards per attempt, and uses a regression analysis to determine the value of each. You can see here, a couple young starters in only their second year are struggling here, and guys like Andrew Luck and Russell Wilson near the 7.0 barrier. For me, 7.0 NEPA is a great barometer for a great quarterback. Guys like Brady, Breeze, Manning, they're consistently above 7.0. Once you get to the 8 range, you're looking at really elite seasons. Tony Romo had an 8 season this last year, as he had a fantastic year leading Dallas. Anything in the 9 range is truly historic. There have only been a few 9.0 seasons. Things that come to mind include Manning's 04 season where he threw for 49 touchdown passes, or Aaron Rodgers' 2011 MVP season where he threw for an absurd 46 touchdowns against 6 picks. So really, really efficient. It's really bad that Colin's near the bottom of this list above some really questionable guys, and his stats are pretty mediocre. He's not throwing the ball a lot. I was surprised that the yards per attempt figure wasn't higher. I think of the 49ers and I think run, throw deep off play action, and that just didn't happen this year. He doesn't have a great completion percentage, not throwing a lot of TDs. That's really come down over the last couple years. The one thing that he does a good job of is he stays away from trouble. He doesn't lock on receivers or force things into tight windows. So that's a good thing. But this 9.8% sack figure is a disaster. This is kind of thrown off. The colors are thrown off because RG3 just took an astronomical amount of sacks. But this 9.8% easily leads all the rest of the quarterbacks and is just unsustainable for a good offense to run, for you to be sacked on a tenth of all your possessions. Now, some of that is, he does have the ability to get out in the open field and is an effective runner, but you just can't take this many sacks no matter how good of a runner you are as a quarterback. And we've seen defenses learn how to contain him, as you'll see in the film today. Looking at him year over year, like I said, things have gotten worse over time. This isn't good. There have been issues. So I will note this peak in the sack figure partly is on the offensive line. They brought in a new center, Marcus Martin. The two guards, Boone and Upati, really struggled in pass protection this year, and they had Jonathan Martin at right tackle who really struggled as well. But it's not all on the line when he's getting sacked 8.6% last year too. So this will be something I'll be really key to look at, why he's taking so many sacks and what he can do about it. Last year when I looked at Colin, I looked at games against Seattle and Carolina, two very good defenses, and taking sacks was one of the issues I noticed. He just doesn't look that comfortable in the pocket. He's not taking these, he's not churning his feet, shuffling his feet like a really great QB like Drew Brees will. So that's something that I've noticed that he needs to work on. By shuffling your feet, keeping your weight on your back foot, and staying on your toes, it really helps you not only make subtle movements to get away from pressure without fully just running away, but it also keeps your body in a position, your footwork in a position where you can throw quickly. The other thing I noticed that he struggled with was just getting into the pocket in the first place, especially when they had him under center. He's got these long legs that are great in the open field. He's got a super long stride, but he just looked awkward dropping back. He looked a little bit unbalanced, a little helter-skelter. He wasn't dropping to consistent depths, and some of his stride to be longer than others, and that's something that he really needs to tighten up against great pass rushers to buy himself time and manipulate the pocket. And those two items are really what people mean when they say pocket presence, is getting an efficient dropping back to the right spot, and then when you're there, shuffling around and being primed to throw. So those are things that will definitely contribute to his ability to take fewer sacks. The other thing that I noticed is people have this unfair saying about Colin and some other quarterbacks where they call them one-read quarterbacks. That just simply isn't true. You cannot be a starter in the National Football League as a one-read quarterback. When he's reading the one side of the field, Colin is really making good decisions, and that's borne out in the low pick percentage. He's able to diagnose, when he has two receivers or three receivers on one side of the field, what the defense wants to do. He's able to get to secondary read in terms of checkdowns and hot routes. So he's able to do that. What people really mean when they say one-read quarterback is he's not quick moving sideline to sideline. So when he's reading one side of the field or even looking off a safety to one side of the field, he's not as quick in getting off that read and moving the other, getting his feet oriented in that different direction with his eyes and throwing accurately to the other side of the field. That's something that he's going to have to work on. Things that he did well, though, were, the first thing that jumps off the page is the arm and the athleticism. He is just such a great athlete, and his arm is phenomenal. He's able to put it into tight locations. He's able to throw off of bad footwork, different arm angles, and he's getting better and better at throwing with touch, throwing over guys, putting the right amount of zip on the ball to give his receivers a better time catching it. The other thing that I thought that he really did a good job of was he does a fantastic job placing the ball where only his guy can get it. This is also known as throwing his guy open. So he's really good when he's identified a receiver to throw to, making that throw happen. So this year I looked at his game against the Rams. This is week 9 at home, a 13-10 loss to the Rams. The Rams defense really had a rough start to the year, and then about halfway through, the pass rush just came alive, and they started terrorizing everyone, including Peyton Manning's Broncos in that game. So we'll look at how Colin's able to handle the pressure and how he played in this game. Again, they only scored 10 points, so the initial read is they didn't play all that well. First pass of the game is pretty simple. They know they're in man coverage. You can tell by the cornerback playing this far off with nothing covering the flat. They're going to run a slant flat here, something the Patriots used constantly against the Seahawks in the Super Bowl. And on the other side, they're going to do a wide receiver screen on 2nd and 9. It's a good idea. They've got an 8-yard cushion between the receiver and the nearest defensive back. Good footwork, good location on the ball, allows this guy to look upfield and look for those blocks and gets a good gain out of it. Second pass of the game, again, it's man coverage. They're playing really off. 1st and 10. He does a great job of looking off the safety and the receiver with his shoulders to the left. You'll see in this frame, both of the safeties have drifted over to the left side of these hashes from the offensive perspective. Good footwork throwing to his right. What I don't like is how long this stride is. I mentioned how long his strides can get in the pocket, and this just doesn't allow for good weight transfer from that back foot to the front foot, and just makes it a little bit of a loopy throw. But still, he's able to get the pass out. It's accurate on a dig, and they get the first down. Third pass of the game, still in man coverage. Look at the space to the sideline. This is something that they found. If they're going to play deep, it's going to be tough for them to cover the flat. So they're going to throw a quick little flare to the running back, Carlos Hyde, coming out of the end zone. He's going to have some trouble with Jonathan Martin matched up against the defensive end. All game long, the Rams are going to have their defensive ends really fly upfield and speed rush to catch him up here, and you'll see why in a few frames. Colin, in this frame, does a great job of adjusting, getting this ball around the defensive end. It's a little bit out of the reach of the running back, had to be to avoid the pass rusher, but Carlos Hyde does a great job of hauling it in, and just look at all this green in front of him. Great pitch and catch and yards after the catch. Fourth play of the game, the Rams bring their first blitz. They've got 5 men coming. You can tell the 49ers have 3 receivers against 2 DBs on the right side. What they like to do with this offense is build hot routes into every play. You'll often see guys run hot, either a little slant or crossing route to give Colin an option against the blitz. And again, this is something that you can't do if the quarterback isn't making multiple reads, if he doesn't have a primary read and then this is the hot route. The pass really should have been away right at this point. You can tell that the receiver's starting to break, and this ball should have probably been out by now, and certainly by now. So it's just a split second late. And he did do a good job of throwing immediately on when his last foot hit, a very Joe Montana-esque style. But it's just a split second late for whatever reason, and the defensive end just made a great break on the ball. I can't really fault Colin for this. He's making a throw in rhythm, but the DB did a great job and breaks us up for 3rd and 10. Now we've got 3rd and 10. They're in field goal range. They're going to take a shot down the sideline, go deep. I can't fault them for this. You have to go deep and make the defense respect your ability to throw deep, and he does so. For the Rams, they do a good job. They've got the safety over, good coverage by the corner, and Colin has no choice but to throw it out of bounds. And the 49ers kick the field goal to go up 3-0. Next possession of the game, this is the 6th pass. It's a play action, roll to the right. You see his entire body's turned away. He's not elite at play action. He could dip his head and shoulders a little bit, sell the play fake a little bit more. But, he does a good job. And moreover, the Rams are just terrified of his ability to run, terrified of the running offense. You can tell that all these linebackers and defensive players in the secondary all are shifting over to the offensive left. Nobody's covering anybody on this side. Look at all that green. Easy pitch and catch for a big first down. 7th pass, he's going to go under center and drop back 7 steps. The 49ers, I've noticed, constantly ask for Colin to take these pretty aggressive dropbacks. In this play, he's about 8 yards behind the line of scrimmage. That's a pretty standard place for him to be. And what that allows for is the speed rushers to kind of just use their speed to get up the field, knowing that he's going to be deep back there. And in this play, the right side of the line really struggled. This will be a theme all afternoon. Jonathan Martin gets beat by the end, and they get pressure up the middle. This is something the Rams will use time and time again. Get pressure around the edge, and then before Colin can exploit that, step up and escape, they're going to bull rush up the middle and put pressure in his face. And this is something that they did really effectively this whole game. You can tell Colin's initial read is to the left. He tries to go back to the right with it, trying to go deeper. He does have a couple check down options and just doesn't feel the pressure coming, doesn't feel the sack. Even though the line got beat, some of this blame has to lie with Colin, and he has to understand on 1st and 10, he's got to take what the defense is giving him. He's got to understand, who on his line is playing well and who isn't, and just to be able to get this ball out or throw it away before he takes the sack. The 8th pass of the game. This is another shot at how lost these offensive linemen and how much space the defense is able to get on the linemen. 8th pass of the game. He's going to go out of the shotgun, 3-step drop. This is probably his only really bad pass of the game. You can tell he's reading left, and he's going to try to throw a deep out, and he just doesn't see or doesn't account for the abilities of this linebacker in coverage. You can tell he's ready to throw here, and the linebacker is just reading his eyes and makes a great play on the ball. This might have been intercepted, probably shouldn't have been thrown the way it was thrown. He's worried about throwing it too far and getting in trouble with the corner, but this is just probably his one bad pass of the game. Next play, they get the break where it wasn't a pickoff. He's another shotgun, 3-step drop, and they're going to rush 5 and, again, bring these defensive ends quickly up the field. And he, to his credit, is at least stepping forward in the pocket. Last year, you will see him, Cam Newton, RG3, where they try to run away or run around the defenders and get into space. And you just can't do that in the NFL. The guys are too fast. So he's moving forward and just gives up on the pass and runs forward. Can't blame him for that either. It's 3rd and 17. There's not a lot of stuff that he can really do on this play, and he goes down right near the line of scrimmage. This is the 10th pass of the game. They're going to do a little play action to the running back, Carlos Hyde, bring an end around, fake that too, and then they're going to try to get the running back on this little flare. I don't know what he's seeing here. What he does is he just throws the ball on the ground. It doesn't even try to complete the pass. I don't know if he's afraid about this linebacker coming in and disrupting the play. Personally, I think it probably would have been a blow up in the backfield. If he caught it right about now, this is probably a loss. So I'll leave it up to give Colin the benefit of the doubt that he probably made a good decision on this play. This is the 11th play. And the entire line just gets beat. The right tackle gets beat. You look at this space. You can't give the defensive end this much space because as a blocker, what you're trying to do is get your hands on his pads and control him. Here, Jonathan Martin's lost all control. I don't know what Aaron Boone is doing over here, who he's trying to help. They really need to start sliding protection over this left side. Instead, they've got guys standing around on the ground on the left side not doing anything. So the right side just gets beat immediately. He does have the two crossers that are probably the hot routes coming open, but he just doesn't have enough time to get away. Tries to step up in the pocket and is just dominated for the sack. And I think this is on the line. I mean, you just can't give up that much pressure across the entirety of the line. You can see here how badly beat these guys are, especially on this frame. He barely gets to the back of his drop, and it's just an emergency crisis level situation. You just can't have that. 12th play of the game, rather. This is the next possession. The 49ers pick off Austin Davis and get the ball in Rams territory. He's under center. Play action, 7-step drop, so getting pretty deep. He does buy time. He does a good job of, they're coming around the edge again. He steps up in the pocket. And ball security is a little bit of an issue here. Can't be that loose with the ball, but he does a good job of trying to keep his eyes downfield, buy time. I like that he doesn't check down to this running back here, to Frank Gore. It's probably a really dangerous pass going back over the middle, and ultimately just steps over the line and takes a 3-yard gain. Next play, you can just tell how much pressure he's under. I like this graphic. They're just giving up a lot of pressure on him, which is not a good thing. So again, this is the 13th play. It's a great play to relieve that pressure. They're going to throw a simple wide receiver screen. They're giving him about an 8-yard cushion here and gets the ball out quickly. Over-rotates a little bit, but, I mean, this is an easy catch. Allows the receiver to catch the ball facing upfield and get some yards after the catch. This is one of my favorite plays of the game, the 14th pass play. He's rolling out to the right again. Again, they have nobody covering this little area along the boundary with the man coverage that they're doing. He pumps once, and you can just tell how terrified these Rams are of him taking off down that right sideline. Everyone's looking at him. Everyone's weight shifted to account for him and account for some of these shallower receivers. He pumps once, gets this guy completely turned around, and then Anquan Boldin comes wide open right here. Easy pitch and catch. This guy's completely out of position. Easy touchdown. You can see from this angle how many Rams are just terrified and looking at him. They've got two guys covering one. This corner route is probably open as well, and everyone is just fooled trying to account for the quarterback. This is something that is very, very special. The special ability of Collins to draw in defenders like this and get guys open by a gazillion yards. So great touchdown. The 49ers go up 10-3. The 49ers get another Davis pick near midfield, and again, the right tackle is just beat immediately on the snap. I mean, there's a couple guys open, but there's they got the double outs here, running back in the flat. There's just nothing he can do, though, when a guy's in his face right when he gets to the top of his drop. They really need to switch this coverage up and give more help and slide more guys to the offensive right side, because this is just a disaster. You can see this play is blown up immediately. I mean, maybe there's an opportunity here, but I am fine with him just throwing the ball away. Unfortunately, he's not able to do that as quickly as he'd like, and he takes a really bad sack. I think this is mostly on the line, but Colin does have to understand, my line's not playing well. I really can't fault him on this play because of how quickly they get in the backfield, but he's got to start thinking throwing a little bit quicker and maybe throwing away if he needs to not take so many sacks. Goes down 16th pass of the game. It's 3rd and 12, obvious passing situation, and this just shows off his arm. Great footwork on the deep comeback. Again, this is a 12-yard in the air pass, probably more in the air because of the triangle, the hypotenuse being longer, and he just puts it on a dime to his receiver. Over rotates a little bit, something that he tends to do, but I mean, I can't argue with the results. 17th play of the drive. They pick up they're in 3rd and 3. They're going to run a man beater route right here, similar to what Edelman did for his game-winning touchdown in the Super Bowl. Get the defense turned one way and cut back the other. This is going to be a problem, though. The protection, again, they're going to aggressively speed rush. On 3rd and 3, he's still about 8 yards behind the line of scrimmage, which doesn't make a ton of sense to me, and it just allows them to tee off. Here's where you see that he's really trying to run forward. He's taking these big steps, whereas if he does take the smaller shuffles and he just kind of shuffles forward in the pocket and is ready to throw, he does have a receiver open. He gets a split second where there's that opportunity to get the ball out. But instead, he's looking to run and gets taken down behind the line, and the 49ers are forced to punt again. This camera angle also shows, they have a bunch of guys out here to block, and just how quickly it all blows up for him. And, he does have an opportunity again to step forward. There is a little bit of room here, a little bit of trouble, but there is some room, and he's just unable to get that pass away. So this next frame isn't really a pass play. It's a read option, and it just shows off Colin's athletic ability. The end crashes. They've got these 2 defensive backs deep. They're going to pull this guy to lead block, and just see his athleticism and ability to run in space. This is now the 18th pass of the game, or rather the 19th. I did miss an earlier slant that he did throw complete. But what they're gonna do is they're gonna run a little bit of a dig right here, and he gets confused for the first time. For the first time all game, the Rams are gonna bring this defensive back up, and they're gonna play zone coverage. And you can see him pumping, noticing the zone coverage, noticing these 2 guys reading him, just gets kind of nervous, unsure of what he's gonna do. Tries to pump, tries to make something out of it, and at this point he really needs to get rid of the ball. The line's not playing well. 2nd and 1, live to fight another down. You're at midfield, live to get that 3rd down and 1. Trust your ability to run it for that 1st down. Instead, he tries to make something out of nothing, and is strip sacked. This is really bad. This could have been, you can see the ball popping out. This could have been returned for a touchdown easily. So 19th pass of the game did not go so well. Next possession, 20th pass. You can tell, Jonathan Martin is just struggling with his strength in his hands. There's just no ability to control the rusher. Colin does a good job of hanging tough, standing in there, getting his footwork aligned to the left, and throwing just another strike on this deep out near the 1st down marker. And they do get the 1st down on a slant, and now they have 1st and 10 on the Ram side of the field. This is just another beautiful throw between 2 defenders. 2 defensive backs to get it to Vernon Davis on a little bit of a curl route. The safety's late coming over, just a fantastic completion with good anticipation. Again, this just shows what the Rams are trying to do this next pass. They're going to loop the defensive end, speed rush up the field, and then bring pressure up the middle and close off that lane where he could escape out of with a bull rush. I don't know why they have so many blockers seemingly not doing anything on the left side. It is beyond me. The right side is getting beat. He tries to buy time, steps forward. Again, good job stepping forward in the pocket, and does have a receiver open here, has some space to the right sideline, and he has to understand this game situation just a little bit better. 2nd and 10. You're right on the edge of field goal range here. You're on the 34-yard line. This is a 51-yard field goal. You're right in field goal range. Live to fight another day. Instead, for some reason, he tries to go to the left. I'm not exactly sure why, and the defender makes a fantastic play. I mean, usually you'd think that he'd be able to make this sideline. Doesn't happen for him on this play. Gets sacked, and you can see what he's seeing. Good job moving forward. This is a crowded pocket, messy pocket. Good job moving forward, and just isn't able to escape. The bad news is this pushed them further back, and it ended up being a 55-yard field goal try that Phil Dawson was unable to hit. And you just wonder if he was a little bit closer, what might have been. Again, this is a game the 49ers lost 13-10, and a game where they had the ball on the 2-yard line at the end of the game. So if they score here, any type of score, it completely changes the complexion of the game when they're on the 2 later in the fourth quarter. You'll remember, if you remember, this next field goal was very, very controversial. After he missed it, Tavon Austin tries to take the ball out of the end zone. I think he's trying to fight for yards still. He's still alive here. I think he's still in possession, trying to make a move here. He gets tackled in the end zone by Chris Borland. They declined to call it a safety. I think this is a safety. I think he is still progressing, still on his feet, and he's finally tackled here into the end zone. Jim Harbaugh, bless his heart, obviously disagrees. And again, in a game the 49ers lost by 3, this was a huge non-call on the missed safety. Now to start the second half, 23rd pass of the game. They do a good job of running a little man beater route on the slot corner. Good placement on the ball. Great throw, great footwork, and an unnecessary hold by the right guard wipes out this pass play. And this next play, it just shows how long of a stride he's taking to get to the end of this drop. It's a really long stride, just makes it slightly slower. He's not as balanced, not as efficient. But to his credit, he makes a fantastic throw. Gets decent footwork throwing to his right. I think it's harder throwing to his right because throwing to the left, you can always open up your front foot and get that footwork in good shape. He's aligned to the throw, places it right in between the numbers on the quick comeback, and his receiver just drops the ball. That's inexcusable. Next pass, this is another accurate comeback. Great footwork, throwing to that side in between the lane, and you can tell just by the placement of that ball. It's only where his guy can get it. Unfortunately, it's just shy of the marker on third down. You can tell he's just coming down with the ball. It's just shy of that first down. Fortunately for the Niners, they had a false start that actually gave them another third down, now 3rd and 12, and they just try to throw a wide receiver screen to Crabtree. Again, reasonably well thrown, gets his guy turned upfield, but is unable to convert on the first down. Next possession of the game, the Rams have tied it all up. They're going to run a play action. I like the ball show. It's important to get the ball out so the defense sees it. Roll to the right. And this is just an easy pitch and catch to Anquan Boldin come across the formation. I like that he puts a little air under this, doesn't try to, bullet it in there, put a ton of heat on it, gives the receiver a softball to catch. Great job. Next play, another PA fake. He's trying to get it to the running back on a little bit of a flare coming out of the right side, and does a pretty good job of fitting it around this defender. I think Frank Gore may have missed a block, and does a great job of just placing it right where it needs to be for an easy catch. This next play isn't really a pass, but I just wanted to show you what the 49ers the look that they're giving. They've got 2 running backs and Anquan Boldin in this weird I formation with Colin under center. And it's 3rd down and 1, obvious running situation. And what the Rams are going to do is they're going to be terrified of Colin coming around the edge on some sort of option play. You can tell they've got a safety over here, guy in the backfield, 2 men in the backfield guarding this edge, and the 49ers just hand off straight to Gore running up the middle where now they have numbers. They have 6 blocking 5 in the middle, and the Rams have to account for Colin's ability to run with either of these guys out of the backfield and allow the 49ers to pick up a big first down. 29th pass, he's under center, reading to his left, and Marcus Martin, the center, just gets blown up, and Jonathan Martin on this side just get blown up by both of their respective defenders, and you can see he's immediately in trouble. At this point, with the line struggling the way it is, Colin has to be able to sense this pressure and has to get the ball out. They're in Rams territory, close to field goal range. It's a close, low-scoring game. You have to not make mistakes like this. Instead, he's going to try to, run, take off somewhere. He does have some room to his right. Unfortunately, he picks the left side where there's really nothing there. They have these defenders playing pretty tight coverage there. And there's just nowhere to go. He's tripped for a huge sack that brings him out of field goal range. And this is just a huge situational mistake. You can tell here. I don't know what Mike Upati is trying to do. He's in a stance. Marcus Martin is struggling with the defensive tackle. He's getting stood straight up, and there's just no help, no chemistry, and you can see multiple defenders breaking open, and this is just a terrible play by all involved. So they turn the ball over, and Lee uncharacteristically shanks the ball for 25 yards on the punt. So now the 49ers have the ball back. Colin is now in the end zone on 2nd and 11. It's still tied in the fourth quarter, and this is just egregious blocking. We have multiple linemen just clueless. They've got a running back against a defensive end. That's a mismatch. And yet on the left side, so they have issues on the right side. On the left side, they have two linemen just not blocking anyone. One lineman getting beat by the defensive tackle, and then looping around is the cherry on top. This is just inexcusable offensive line play. Multiple defenders linemen give up on the play, even though they have one of the most dynamic quarterbacks who's a rushing threat on every play. They should be blocking and extending plays for him when he can do the same, and they're just not doing it, and he's brought down again. This is a play action roll to the right. This time the defense handles it well. They bring a lineman up to bother her, or linebacker rather, up to bother him. And, at this point, the ball should be out. I know he's trying to buy something to get something deep going. He pumps and gets this guy to fly past him. What are these linemen doing? They have one of the premier running quarterbacks in the league who always extends these types of plays on these rollouts, and they're just standing around not giving him any help. And eventually he just has to check down to this guy on the sideline, throws high, almost gets him killed. This is just poor offensive line play from what was considered a very, very good unit in years past. Next play, he's under center, 7-step drop. He's reading right to left. There's an opportunity to throw here, and again, Colin needs to understand this line is not going to give him opportunities to get to his third and fourth reads. Eventually, he does decide to check down to Gore, right in the middle. You can barely see him, and that was probably a bad decision. This is a dangerous throw that Gore somehow hangs on to. Now, next play. They're going to run another man-beating route. This is a kind of a pick where they have two slot receivers pushing deep. There's a ton of space against the cornerback here, and Crabtree's going to run a simple slant behind him. Decent footwork. You want this ball to be right here. I'll draw a box for you where this ball needs to be. That's where the ball needs to be. Unfortunately, he's got a good pocket, and for whatever reason, footwork good here. He steps and opens his hips and his shoulder. It's just not a great stable platform to throw off of, and the ball is placed just slightly out of Crabtree's reach. Again, you can see this box hasn't moved. That's the strike zone, and the ball is low and outside. This probably should have been caught anyways, but with how much space they gave Crabtree, this should have been an easier catch, and the 49ers are forced to turn the ball over again. Now they are down 3 points with 3 minutes left. 49ers have just over 3 minutes left, backed up on their 12-yard line. This is it. So they're going to go shotgun, 3-step drop, reads middle to the left. Good mechanics on this comeback. You'll see him, his feet are neutral, gets him oriented in the right direction for this comeback route. Great placement, great anticipation, allows his defender to spin out of a tackle for a huge gain. So this is a great pass to start off the drive, get all the way out near the 50, or the 40 rather. Next play, shotgun again, reads to the right, shuffles forward. Good job of climbing the pocket. Notice how he's, kind of on the 29-yard line, 28-yard line here. Next frame, he's shuffled forward. Now he's on the 30, 31-yard line. Unfortunately, he does try to fit it in here in a really tight spot. This ball probably should have been thrown. He does have a receiver open on the sideline where he could have made it to the boundary and stopped the clock. But the defensive back just makes a great break on this ball, and it falls incomplete. Next play, the Rams are playing this really, really soft coverage that they've been in all game, and they're continuing to go with it, and unable to get the pressure with the six-man pressure. Easy throw to a wide open Anquan Bolden. He breaks a few tackles, and they now have 3rd and 2. This is a great throw to Crabtree on this little kind of comeback route. Good mechanics, good throw. I like that he's facing the receiver. Still a little bit to the sideline, but he's facing the receiver on the throw. And he just keeps the ball low, doesn't want to make a mistake, doesn't want to give this defensive back a play on it. Good conversion for the first down. 38th pass, shotgun read to the right. The Rams are going to throw a little wrinkle in this pass rush. They've been going up the field all game. They're now going to twist around and cause more problems for the 49ers on the right side. Ball security will be an issue on this one. Can't get loose with the ball like that, and ultimately he actually makes a good decision on this to throw the ball away. They've got the ball on the 50. No reason to take chances here. They actually checked that. They actually got called for an illegal formation that brought up a 1st and 15. Or I believe it was 1st and 15. It would have been 1st and 15, and an easy. I didn't get footage, but there was another easy pass to Bolden, where he ran past everyone for a first down. So now they have 1st and 10 on the Rams' 35-yard line in business. Rams again flying around the edge to get pressure. These linemen are just not up to par, and he does do a good job of stepping forward, hanging tough in the pocket, and throwing the ball high. He does get rid of it, which is good. Don't love the throw, but it is complete. Next pass. What they do is they try to take a shot. He's gonna pump once, climb the pocket, and throw a deep go to Stevie Johnson on the right sideline. And this ball, the good thing is he puts good touch on it. He gives Stevie a chance to go up and get it rather than out throwing everyone. But you'll tell in this frame, Stevie has a good 2 yards to the sideline where this ball could have been thrown to throw away from the defensive back. Unfortunately, just a little bit inaccurate in the middle of the field, and the defensive back is able to get a hand on it and knock it incomplete. This is a tough pass to complete, but great quarterbacks need to be able to hit passes on a dime like this. Next pass, they're going to blitz. Big blitz this time, 6-man. Does a great job recognizing that, stepping forward. This is a crowded pocket. Notice he's on the kind of 38, 39-yard line, steps forward to the 37, 38-yard line, and he recognizes 6-man blitz, single coverage on the outside, throws deep to Michael Crabtree, draws the draws the pass interference call. There's the flag right there, and you can just tell that this defensive back never got his head turned around. Crabtree does a great job fighting back for the ball. Kaepernick did a great job of just putting the ball in a catchable situation, and they get the call, and now they are really in business. 1st and goal on the 5. Good mechanics, quick throw to Crabtree, again, one-on-one. They get the defensive holding there. The Rams are all over Crabtree. So now they have 1st and goal at the 2-yard line, and they run a rollout to the right. You can tell Crabtree just is beating the single coverage pretty handily now when he's one-on-one with no safety help. He's got almost a yard separation on the DB, and this is an eternity in the NFL. You just can't be that open in the NFL. And Colin Kaepernick makes a great throw. Throws it away from the defender. Does throw a little bit low, but I think he's trying to keep it down away from that defender. Again, he doesn't want to make a mistake in this situation. And this, to be honest, is just quite simply a blown call. You can tell here he's got it on the goal line. This is an even better angle. Possession. Ball is over the goal line, still over the goal line, and they call it a completed pass to the 1. I have never seen a pass like this where the ball is so clearly. This is a great angle, clearly over the goal line, knees, feet down inside the end zone. You can tell his arms are underneath the ball. This was called a completed pass, and they just blow it. They flat out blow the touchdown, and it's inexcusable by the Zebras. Next play, they're going to try to another rollout. It's well handled by the Rams, has to throw it away, and that leads to the final play where Colin somehow fumbles the end zone. The Rams somehow get it, and they can't even tie the game because the Rams have the ball. So a very disappointing game for the 49ers offense. Very disappointing to lose this game at home. But, let's look at some of the things that Colin did well. I think he's definitely improved in his ability to read side to side. You saw those instances where he was able to hold safeties one side of the field. You saw instances where he's able to check down effectively on hot routes and diagnose pressure. He's definitely improved in that regard. His arm is still fantastic. Fits some throws into really tight spots. Really able to locate balls well and put balls where only his receiver could get them. He consistently showed ability to do that. Improved ability to read the defense. The Rams weren't really fooling him with much of this stuff, and they played a pretty vanilla defense in this one, outside a few stunts and a zone play here or there. But I mean, he made good decisions with the ball. Like, it's no joke that his interception percentage is pretty low. He probably only made 2 really bad throws in that game, and fortunately for him, neither of them were picked off. But his decision making is overall pretty solid. Things that he needs to get better at. I've been saying this for years. His footwork needs to improve. His drop back mechanics need to improve, and his ability to really manipulate the pocket and his pocket presence need to improve. The bad news is he's now a third year as a starter, and I think it'd be really hard for him to break it down that far in the off season, just one off season. That's getting to really fundamental quarterbacking, and I just don't know that he's going to be able to be that great pocket passer, be that guy that churns his feet and is constantly in a position to throw and gets the ball out quickly. I don't know if he can be that guy. I don't know that he'll ever be that guy. I just don't see a lot of quarterbacks that get in the league without that skill that somehow develop it. Now, on the flip side, the 49ers offense didn't really help him out in this one. The line was just horrible. You saw the earlier statistic on the pressures and the hits, and they just did not play a smart game plan with how they designed their protections. The Rams bullied them around the edges and up the middle all game. So that's something that is fixable in terms of being able to protect them better. Another thing that's fixable is him understanding when his line is getting beat, getting the ball out, throwing away if possible. I know his completion percentage isn't great, but again, you just can't take 9.8% sacks on attempts and be successful over the long run. So that's something I believe is fixable in terms of being able to protect him and being able to get the ball out quicker. His footwork does need to improve. His drop back mechanics need to improve. But I think if you solve the simple things first, you may be able to get away with some of the other things. I think all in all, there are still more positives to Colin Kaepernick than negatives. His athleticism you can't replicate. His arm talent is very difficult to replicate. I think when the 49ers look at this film, they'll identify the need to protect him better, continually upgrading his weapons at receiver, and understand that, while their quarterback may have some limitations, he also brings to the table a couple things that no one else does, or a few other quarterbacks do. So it was a disappointing year, but I still think that he's going to be the starter for the near future, and it's something that the 49ers can really build around. That's it for this week's QB Corner. Again, search for the hashtags, go to the blog, and leave comments.